Let's take a small case study on a compound interest. We have to calculate future value and compound interest on an amount of rupees 1 lakh borrowed at a compound interest rate of 12% per annum for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years and 1095 days. So what we'll do to facilitate this calculation, we'll have a statement. Let me type that statement showing computation of compound interest. We basically have 4 scenarios here. Okay, so let's see how to calculate compound interest in all the 4 scenarios. So let me give the scenarios. It is scenario 1, scenario 2, scenario 3 and scenario 4. Okay, let me just centerline them. Yeah, so what is the amount that is going to be borrowed in all the scenarios? I'll write them amount borrowed in all the 4 scenarios. In all the 4 scenarios, the amount borrowed is 1 lakh. So let me copy that for all the 4 scenarios. Now, what we understand is the interest rate is going to be 12% in all the 4 scenarios. So let me write interest rate is going to be 12% in all the 4 scenarios. So it's going to be 12 divided by 100. So it will be 0.12, and this is same in all the 4 scenarios. Then in order to find the future value, we should know what is the time period for which this borrowal continues. Okay, so item C, we should know the time period, and let us try to express the time period in year terms. Okay, so time period, I'll call it as N, and if you take the first scenario, the time period is 6 months. Okay, so if I express it in year terms, it's going to be 6 divided by 12, so this will be 0.5. Whereas scenario 2, it is 1 year, so it is straight 1. Scenario 3, it is 2 years, and scenario 4, it is 1095 days. So I want to express this in year. So what I'll do, I'll take 1095 divided by 365 days. So that makes 3 years. Then now it's time for us to calculate what is the future value, and we know what is the formula for future value. Because we are talking about the compound interest, so we are talking about compound value. So we can say future value is equal to principal, that's P, multiplied by 1 plus the interest rate, that can be called as I, 1 plus I. So I'll put it in small, 1 plus I to the power, raised to the power n. That's the time period. Okay, so here I can have them in all the scenarios. Scenario 1, principal is 1 lakh. Okay, multiplied by 1 plus I. So it is 1 plus we know I is 0.12. So I'll close the bracket and raised to the time period, which is 0.5. So if I enter, I would get what is the future value, and here the future value is going to be 1,05,830. Okay, let me avoid the decimals. So in the same way, I can calculate for the second scenario, that is principal multiplied by 1 plus I, close the bracket, raised to the power time period, which is 1. So that's going to give me 1,12,000. I'll try for the third scenario. It's principal multiplied by 1 plus I, close the bracket, raised to the power 2, and it is 1,25,440. And if I simply copy paste this formula, I'll get what's going to be the future value in scenario 4. Okay, so this is my future value. Now the question also wants me to find out compound interest. So what is compound interest? Compound interest is nothing but, I'll put them here, it is future value minus the principal. Okay, so here I'll put it compound interest is future value of this 1,05,830 minus my principal of 1 lakh. So my compound interest is 5,830. And if I copy paste for the second one, so I'll get compound interest as 12,000. And for third case, if I copy paste and if I check, it is basically 1,25,440 minus 1 lakh, so it is 25,440. And in the fourth case, it is 1,40,493 minus 1 lakh, so I get my compound interest is so much. Okay, so this is a simple case for us to understand how to calculate the compound value if your future is not exactly a year, because you had something as 6 months, you had something as 1095 days. So how to calculate? So this is a simple example for us to understand.